Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I am Balsa Williams and with me is Abhishek Mukhopadhyay with the Midday News. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to hold his first in-person meeting with US President Joe Biden to also attend Quad Summit at the White House today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi meets US Vice President Kamala Harris in Washington, D.C. Both leaders call for a free and open Indo-Pacific region. Prime Minister holds bilateral meetings with his Japanese and Australian counterparts in Washington, D.C. President Ramnath Kovind confers National Service Scheme Awards for 2019-20 from Rashtrapati Bhavan virtually. Over 84 crore 15 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine administered under the nationwide vaccination drive so far. Recovery rate stands at 97.78%. Karnataka Legislative Council passes a bill to ban online gambling portals. In Bihar, polling underway for the first phase of Panchayat elections amidst tight security. First Himalayan Film Festival to begin at Leh in Ladakh this afternoon. And in IPL cricket, Royal Challengers Bangalore to take on Chennai Super Kings in Sharjah at 7:30 p.m. As the nationwide free COVID-19 vaccination campaign at government facilities for those above 18 years is underway, we advise our young listeners to get vaccinated and also help others get vaccinated. We also advise our listeners not to lower their guard as COVID-19 remains a threat to our health. Please stay at home unless it is essential to go out and continue to follow these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011-2397-8046 and 1075. And other news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will hold a bilateral meeting with US President Joe Biden and attend the Quad Summit at the White House today. This is going to be the first in-person meeting between the two leaders after Mr. Biden took over as the US President on the 20th of January this year. Mr. Biden will also host the first ever in-person Quad Leaders Summit, which will be attended by Prime Minister Modi, Australian PM Scott Morrison and Japanese Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga. For more on the expectations from the 2 high-profile engagements of the Prime Minister, we take you live to our correspondent Sabhagyakar in Washington. Sabhagya, it is going to be a big day with the Prime Minister meeting Joe Biden first and then with the Quad leaders. First, your take on the PM Biden meeting?
Balsa, well, the tone for the much-awaited meeting has been set, with the Prime Minister stating he is here to expand the comprehensive strategic partnership with the United States. Already, India and US are strategically connected to agreements like Komkasa, Beka, and Lemoa. US has emerged as India's largest trade partner, and bilateral trade in goods and services in 2019, it was worth $149 million. At a media briefing yesterday in Washington, Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla pointed out that the interest and a host of issues and close cooperation have brought the 2 natural allies together. As you know, this will be the first in-person meeting between the 2 leaders after Joe Biden became the US President. The 2 leaders have virtually met on 3 occasions earlier this year. COVID-19 pandemic and the challenges, the developments in Afghanistan after Taliban taking over, cross-border terrorism, climate change will figure prominently in the deliberations. Bilateral trade investment also is yet another area with a scope to a further improvement.
Right, Saubhagya, the Quad Summit is being seen as one of the high points of the PM's visit this time. What are the areas which the Quad nations will be looking at to bolster their cooperation?
Balsa, this will be the first in-person meeting of 4 leaders of the Quad group. It is significant in the wake of recent assertiveness by the China and the Taliban taking over in Afghanistan, increasing threat of radicalization and terrorism also it will come up. The Quad COVID vaccine initiative for making the vaccine in India and the distributing to Asian countries will be also for discussion between the 2 leaders. And, yesterday Prime Minister also met top CEOs of US and the partnering in the emerging technologies, digital infrastructure, maintaining a global supply chain will also be the high on the agenda during the meet. The leaders will drive home the point that Quad has a specific purpose.
Last but not the least, the PM's address at the UN General Assembly in New York on the 25th of September. What is likely to be the focus of his address, Saubhagya?
Yeah, Balsa, the Prime Minister will address the UN General Assembly on September 25th as the first speaker of the day. As you know, Narendra Modi last addressed the UNGA in person in 2019. Since the 20 meeting last year, the meeting were held virtually amidst COVID pandemic. This time, the Prime Minister's focus will be on COVID-19, cross-border terrorism, climate change, among other issues.
Thanks a lot, Saubhagya, for joining us with those details. Prime Minister Modi will conclude his US visit tomorrow with an address at the United Nations General Assembly focusing on the pressing global challenges including the COVID-19 pandemic, the need to combat terrorism, climate change and other important issues. This is Prime Minister Modi's first visit abroad beyond the neighbourhood since the COVID-19 pandemic outbreak. Mr. Modi is accompanied by a high-level delegation comprising National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla and senior officials. The high-level session of the UNGA began on Tuesday in New York. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US Vice President Kamala Harris met in Washington, D.C. last night. The two leaders expressed happiness at their first in-person meeting. Mr. Modi and Kamala Harris discussed the COVID-19 situation and the ongoing efforts to contain the pandemic. The Prime Minister lauded the US support at that time. The US Vice President appreciated India's vaccination drive and how it has now moved to export vaccines for humanity.
On COVID-19, our nations have worked together. Early in the pandemic, India was a vital source of vaccines for other countries. When India experienced a surge of COVID in the country, the United States was very proud to support India in its need and responsibility to vaccinate its people. And I welcome India's announcement that it will soon be able to resume vaccine exports. It is of particular note and admiration that India, I'm told, is currently vaccinating approximately 10 million people a day.
Both leaders agreed that India, US and Quad need to strengthen the supply chains and partner in new technologies. Regional and global issues including developments in Afghanistan and the quest for an open, free and inclusive Indo-Pacific region figured prominently in the talks. They also discussed areas of future collaboration including space cooperation, information technology, especially emerging and critical technologies, as well as cooperation in the healthcare sector.
विश्व की सबसे बड़ी और सबसे पुरानी डेमोक्रेसीज के रूप में भारत और अमेरिका नेचुरल पार्टनर है। सप्लाई चेन की मजबूती, नवीनतम टेक्नोलॉजी और अंतरिक्ष जैसे क्षेत्रों में आपकी विशेष रुचि है। ये क्षेत्र मेरे लिए भी विशेष प्रायोरिटी के हैं। इन क्षेत्रों में हमारे बीच सहयोग बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a bilateral meeting with Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison on the sidelines of the Quad Leaders Summit in Washington, D.C. This was the first in-person meeting between the two leaders in the post-pandemic period. During the meeting, the Prime Minister discussed a broad range of issues of bilateral, regional and global importance. They noted with satisfaction the regular high-level engagements between the two countries, including the recently held first India-Australia Foreign and Defence Ministers 2+2 dialogue. They reviewed the progress achieved since the leaders' virtual summit. Both the leaders resolved to continue close cooperation for mutual well-being and towards advancing the shared objectives of an open, free, prosperous and rules-based Indo-Pacific region. They expressed satisfaction at the ongoing negotiations on a bilateral comprehensive economic cooperation agreement, CECA. They noted the commitment of both sides to achieve an early harvest announcement on an interim agreement by December this year. The Prime Minister underlined the need for the international community to address the issue of climate change on an urgent basis. Both leaders also discussed possibilities of providing clean technologies. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Japanese counterpart Yoshihide Suga had a fruitful meeting in Washington, D.C. The two leaders held discussions on several issues, including ways to give further impetus to trade and cultural ties. They discussed a range of issues including Indo-Pacific regional developments, supply chain resilience, trade, digital economy and people-to-people ties.
President Ramnath Kovind today conferred the National Service Scheme Awards for 2019-20 from Rashtrapati Bhavan through virtual mode. Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur and Minister of State for Youth Affairs and Sports Nishit Pramanik attended the ceremony from Sushma Swaraj Bhavan in New Delhi. On the occasion, Mr. Thakur said youth is the future of the country. He said National Service Scheme volunteers have worked wholeheartedly for community services during the COVID-19 pandemic. He added that activities of National Service Scheme are helpful in nation building. He said volunteers are continuously working on various community development projects, which is helping the villagers. In Bihar, polling is underway peacefully for the first phase of Panchayat elections amidst tight security. Polling, which began at 7 a.m., will continue till 5 p.m. Polling is being held in 170 Gram Panchayats spread over 10 districts including Gaya, Aurangabad and Munger today. No untoward incident has been reported from any part of the state. For the first time, EVMs are being used in Panchayat polls in the state. Bihar State Election Commission has asked authorities to strictly follow COVID protocols during polling. Counting of votes will take place on the 26th and 27th of September.
Over 84 crore 15 lakh vaccine doses have been administered so far under the nationwide vaccination drive. Over 72 lakh 20,000 vaccine doses were administered in the last 24 hours. A total of 31,382 new cases were reported in the last 24 hours. The recovery rate is currently at 97.78%. Over 32,542 recoveries were recorded in the last 24 hours. The Union Government today said more than 81 crore 39 lakh COVID vaccine doses have been provided to states and union territories so far. The Health Ministry said that more than 4 crore 23 lakh unutilized vaccine doses are still available with the states, UTs and private hospitals to be administered. The ministry said more than 85 lakh doses are in the pipeline.
In the program Spotlight, News Services Division of All India Radio is broadcasting a special series, Seva aur Samarpan 20 Saal Sushaasan Ke. Today the theme is Aspirational Districts. It showcases Prime Minister Narendra Modi's resolve and dedication towards achieving Sabka Vikas through Aspirational Districts program. This special program can be heard tonight on FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:15 p.m. onwards. This program will also be available on our website newsonair.com and on our YouTube channel News on AIR Official. Raising awareness about coronavirus in Corona Jagrukta series from 9:30 to 10 p.m. Today we have Dr. Balbir Singh from Max Hospital to answer queries of listeners. So keep listening to All India Radio News for the latest developments. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin today inaugurated the Centre for Healthcare scheme at your doorstep in Chennai. Speaking on the occasion, he said the scheme, which was launched this month, has benefited more than 10 lakh people in different parts of the state. The Chief Minister said it is time for the government to go to the doorstep of the people and offer services to them. In connection with World Hearing Disability Week, Mr. Stalin gave 98 lakh rupee worth state-of-the-art medical equipment to assess the hearing disability at the Rajiv Gandhi Government Hospital and also distributed hearing aids to children and the elderly. More in this report.
We are planning to give care to a palliative care to the patient who are bedridden in this Ayushman Bharat scheme. So it is very helpful to the
scheme. Medical help will be offered at the doorstep for those with non-communicable diseases. The scheme is launched in 7 districts, 1,172 health sub-centers, 189 primary health care centers and 50 community health centers. It involves door-to-door checkup for people by a field team including women health volunteers, village health nurses, health inspectors, palliative care staff and physiotherapists with the monitoring support of other public health field staff. Medicines will be sent to the residences of those patients diagnosed with hypertension and diabetes. Joy, AIR News, Chennai.
A bill was passed in Karnataka Legislative Council today to ban online gambling portals. During the discussion on the bill in the upper house, Home Minister Arga Janendra said that the Karnataka Police Amendment Bill 2021 aims at banning all the online sites that promote gambling through games or through means of betting. The police will now have authority to act against persons promoting such sites. Even those portals that invite online betting during horse race will come under the ambit of this bill. The minister also informed that they have plans to curb tough club activities in their race course. He expressed dismay at the plight of families that have lost the financial stability due to horse race and other types of gambling. You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to hold his first in-person meeting with the US President Joe Biden to also attend Quad Summit at White House today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi meets US Vice President Kamala Harris in Washington, D.C. Both leaders call for a free and open Indo-Pacific region. Prime Minister holds bilateral meetings with his Japanese and Australian counterparts in Washington, D.C. President Ramnath Kovind confers National Service Scheme Awards for 2019-20 from Rashtrapati Bhavan virtually. Over 84 crore 15 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine administered under the nationwide vaccination drive so far. Recovery rate stands at 97.78%. Karnataka Legislative Council passes a bill to ban online gambling portals. In Bihar, polling is underway for the first phase of Panchayat elections amidst tight security. First Himalayan Film Festival to begin in Leh in Ladakh this afternoon. And in IPL cricket, Royal Challengers Bangalore to take on Chennai Super Kings in Sharjah at 7:30 p.m. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Welcome back to the Midday News. The manufacturing sector is making strides in the development of the Indian economy. To make the country self-reliant in the sector, the centre launched the Make in India initiative on the 25th of September 2014 under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The initiative is aimed at facilitating investment, fostering innovation and building the best-in-class manufacturing infrastructure.
हमने भारत की अर्थव्यवस्था को जिस प्रकार के बदलाव लाना है, उस बदलाव में एक तरफ मैन्युफैक्चरिंग ग्रोथ को बढ़ाना है, एट द सेम टाइम उसका सीधा बेनिफिट हिंदुस्तान के नौजवानों को मिले, उसे रोजगार मिले, ताकि गरीब से गरीब परिवार की आर्थिक स्थिति में बदलाव आए, वो गरीबी से मिडिल क्लास की ओर बढ़े और उसका परचेजिंग पावर बढ़े, तो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग की संख्या बढ़ेगी, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग का ग्रोथ बढ़ेगा, रोजगार के अवसर उपलब्ध होंगे, फिर एक बार बाजार बढ़ेगा. ये एक ऐसा चक्र है, उस चक्र को आगे बढ़ाने की दिशा में ये महत्वपूर्ण काम आज ये शेर का कदम है, ये लायन का स्टेप है, मेक इन इंडिया.
The centre has taken various measures to promote the manufacturing sector. Recently, it launched a national single window system as a one-stop for taking all the regulatory approvals and services. The government has earmarked 1.97 lakh crore rupees for different PLI schemes for 13 key sectors. Talking exclusively to AIR News, Minister of State for Commerce and Industry Anupriya Patel said several schemes like PLI and other schemes like Nirvik have proved instrumental in making the country a manufacturing and export hub.
हमने प्रोडक्ट लिंक इंसेंटिव स्कीम को इंट्रोड्यूस किया है और इस योजना के अंतर्गत भारत कैसे एक मैन्युफैक्चरिंग और एक्सपोर्ट हब बने, इसके लिए हम प्रोडक्शन वैल्यू पर 5 से 6% का इंसेंटिव दे रहे हैं. हमारे जो इस वर्ष की बजट घोषणा रही उसमें 1,97,000 करोड़ का हमने एक आउटले भी इसके लिए घोषणा की है. इसके अलावा जो वर्ल्ड बैंक की ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस रिपोर्ट है उसमें हमने देखा कि भारत ने कैसे 142वीं पोजीशन से 63वीं पोजीशन पे उछाल दिखाई है.
Union Minister of Commerce and Industry, Consumer Affairs and Food and Public Distribution and Textiles, Piyush Goyal reached at Annadale helipad in Shimla today as part of a 3-day tour. During the visit, the minister will participate in various programs under the Seva aur Samarpan Abhiyan organized by the state BJP. He will take part in a tree plantation, cleanliness drive and blood donation camp in Shimla today.
Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur will inaugurate the first ever Himalayan Film Festival in Leh today. The 5-day film festival at Leh's Sindhu Sanskriti Kendra will screen movies from 12 Himalayan states and Union territories. Here is a report.
As part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, the first Himalayan Film Festival is being organized by Union Territory of Ladakh. The film festival is to showcase the filmmaking talent from all Himalayan states and Union territories. Festival begins with screening of Shesha, while the Shepherdess of Glacier will be screened on the closing ceremony on 28 September. Popular films from Himalayan states besides selected Indian panorama films will be screened. The short film competitions and documentaries for spotting talented filmmakers and to encourage fresh talents also a part of the festival. Ramesh Chandra, All India Radio News, Leh.
Bharatiya Janata Party will have pre-poll alliance with Nishat Party in Uttar Pradesh. The party today announced that it will have alliance with Nishat Party and Apna Dal for the state assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh scheduled to be held early next year. Speaking to media in Lucknow, senior BJP leader and Union Minister Dharmendra Pradhan, who also is BJP's election in charge in UP, said that the seat sharing formula will be announced later. At present, the Nishat Party has one member in the UP Legislative Assembly. Party Chief Sanjay Nishat's son, Praveen, is an MP from Sant Kabir Nagar. Mr. Sanjay Nishat was also present at the press conference held at BJP headquarters in Lucknow.
As our nation celebrates the 75th year of independence, a series of events are being organized by the government as part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Let's now listen to our special program, Azadi Ka Safar.
Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. India's glorious fight for freedom is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. Every day, AIR News brings you a glimpse of the valiant struggle.
In today's episode, we pay tribute to the great Indian revolutionary Pritilata Vadidar, who sacrificed her life for the freedom of India at the young age of 21 on this day in 1932. She was devoted to the cause of Indian independence and was inspired by the valor of Rani Lakshmibai since her school days.
She completed her education in Kolkata and took up the job of headmistress at English medium secondary school in a native place in Chittagong. It was here that she joined revolutionaries under the leadership of famous freedom fighter Master Da Surya Sen.
Pritilata firmly believed that women should also take a leading role in the armed struggle against the British.
One of Priti's brothers was involved in revolutionary politics, and it was he who introduced her to Surya Sen, who accepted Pritilata as the first woman member of his revolutionary group. She was a prominent member of the Special Revolutionary Operations for the destruction of the telephone and telegraph office and the capture of the reserve police line in Jalalabad Hills Battle in 1932. Thereafter, Pritilata led 15 revolutionaries to the Pahartali European Club in a successful raid.
However, Pritilata, dressed as a man, was trapped without a way of escape on that fateful night and chose to give up her life rather than being a prisoner to the British administration. Her martyrdom created a huge stir and acted as an inspiration for revolutionaries across India. We salute her unflinching love for the nation.
Today, we also remember freedom fighter Bhikaji Rustam Kama. popularly known as Madam Kama, who was born on this day in 1861 in Mumbai.
It was in London that she met nationalist Shyamji Krishna Varma and Dadabhai Nauroji and got inspired to work for the Indian freedom struggle.
Kama supported the founding of the Indian Home Rule Society in London in 1905. Later, she relocated to Paris and co-founded the Paris Indian Society. Together with other notable members of the movement for Indian sovereignty living in exile, Kama wrote, published and distributed revolutionary literature for the movement.
On the 22nd of August 1907, Kama attended the Second Socialist Congress at Stuttgart, Germany, and appealed for human rights, equality and freedom from imperialist Great Britain. She unfurled what she called the flag of Indian independence. Later, this flag was brought into British India by Indulal Yagnik and is currently on display at the Maratha and Kesari Library in Pune. The flag raised by Kama also served as one of the templates from which the current national flag of India has been created.
Madam Kama's legacy continues through her love and sacrifice for Indian independence. Several Indian cities have streets and places named after her. On 26 January 1962, India's 11th Republic Day, the Indian Post and Telegraph Department issued a commemorative stamp in her honor. Her life is one of grit, determination and love for the nation. We salute her indomitable spirit.
And that brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
स्वाधीनता आंदोलन के दौरान भारतीय जनमानस को उत्प्रेरित कर स्वतंत्रता का अलख जगाने और मातृभूमि के प्रति सेवा, समर्पण और त्याग की ज्वाला प्रज्वलित कर देने वाले अमर गीतों पर आधारित विशेष कार्यक्रम आजादी के तराने सुनना न भूलें। FM गोल्ड 100.1 मेगाहर्ट्ज पर प्रत्येक शुक्रवार शाम 4:45 पर परिक्रमा कार्यक्रम के अंतर्गत आजादी के तराने सिर्फ आकाशवाणी पर।
In IPL cricket, Kolkata Knight Riders beat Mumbai Indians by 7 wickets at the Sheikh Zayed Stadium, Abu Dhabi last night. Today, Royal Challengers Bangalore will take on Chennai Super Kings in Sharjah at 7:30 p.m.
Now let us take a look at the weather update for today. National capital Delhi is likely to have generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. The city recorded 24 degrees Celsius as minimum temperature, while the maximum will be around 34 degrees. Mumbai will have generally cloudy sky with heavy rain. Temperature will hover between 25 and 30 degrees Celsius. Kolkata will have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Minimum temperature in the city was 26 degrees. Maximum will be around 32 degrees. Chennai is likely to witness gently cloudy sky. Temperature will vary between 26 and 33 degrees. And now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to hold his first in-person meeting with US President Joe Biden, to also attend Quad Summit at the White House today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi meets US Vice President Kamala Harris in Washington, D.C. Both leaders call for a free and open Indo-Pacific region. Prime Minister holds bilateral meetings with his Japanese and Australian counterparts in Washington, D.C. President Ramnath Kovind confers National Service Scheme Awards for 2019-20 from Rashtrapati Bhavan virtually. Over 84 crore 15 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine administered under the nationwide vaccination drive so far. Recovery rate stands at 97.78%. Karnataka Legislative Council passes a bill to ban online gambling portals. In Bihar, polling underway for the first phase of Panchayat elections amidst tight security. First Himalayan Film Festival to begin at Leh in Ladakh this afternoon. And in IPL cricket, Royal Challengers Bangalore to take on Chennai Super Kings in Sharjah at 7:30 p.m. And with that, we end the midday news.